Most beginners don't lose fish because they are unlucky. They lose them because of small mistakes they make again and again on every cast, and no one ever tells them. In this video, we will go through every common beginner fishing mistake, one by one. You will learn what goes wrong under the water and exactly how to fix it. Stay until the end, because the last mistake is the #1 reason new anglers go home with nothing, and it has nothing to do with your gear. Using the wrong line. Let's start with the mistake that costs beginners their first big fish more than any other: using a line that is too thick. The thick line is stiff, and in clear water, fish can see it easily. It also stops your bait from moving in a natural way. Fish are not stupid. They have seen lines before, and thick lines in clear water look strange to them, so they swim away. Here is what to do. Use the thinnest line you can. For most fishing, a 6 to 10 pound line is enough. You can also use a line called fluorocarbon, which is very hard for fish to see underwater. There are times to use stronger lines, like when you fish close to thick weeds or wood, where you need the power to pull a fish out fast. But in open, clear water, the thin line wins almost every time. It casts farther, looks natural, and gets you many more bites. Stronger is not better. Thinner and quieter is better. Tying a bad knot. Even with the perfect line on your reel, a weak knot will still cost you the fish of the day. Tying a bad knot. This one hurts because it fails at the worst moment. You hook a big fish, you feel the pull, and then the line goes loose. The knot came undone. Many beginners tie a quick, messy knot and just hope it holds. Do this instead. Learn one strong knot, like the clinch knot or the Palomar knot, and tie it the same way every time. Always wet the line with a little water before you pull it tight, because a dry knot gets weak. One good knot tied well, wet every time. Do that, and you will stop losing fish at the worst possible moment. Choosing the wrong hook size. This mistake looks tiny, but it changes everything. Using the wrong hook size. If the hook is too big, your bait looks strange, and the fish will not take it. If the hook is too small, the fish grabs the bait, but you cannot set the hook, so it feels the metal and spits the bait out. A common example is a beginner using a big hook for tiny fish, then asking why nothing bites. So match your hook to the size of the fish's mouth and your bait. When you are not sure, go smaller. A smaller hook gets eaten more often and catches more fish. Setting the drag wrong. Now let's move to a small part of your reel that decides big fights: the drag. The drag is the part of the reel that lets the line slip out when a fish pulls hard. Beginners get it wrong in two ways. If it is too tight, a strong fish snaps the line right away. If it is too loose, you can never set the hook or pull the fish in. A big fish often makes one hard, fast run the second it feels the hook, and that first run is where most lines break. So set your drag so the line comes out slowly and smoothly when you pull it by hand, not locked tight and not too free. A good guide is about 1/3 of your line's strength. When it is set right, the rod and reel do the hard work for you. Set it before you cast, not while a fish is running away. Buying too much gear. Nothing on this list drains your wallet faster than buying too much gear. Beginners walk into a shop and buy everything that looks cool, or everything the seller tells them to. Soon, their box is full of special lures they do not know how to use. The real problem is not just the money. Too many choices freeze you. You spend more time changing lures than fishing, and you doubt every choice. A person with 40 soft baits and no plan will catch less than a person who uses one simple worm well. So start small. A few hooks, some weights, and 1 or 2 lures that work. Learn to use them well before you buy more. Fishing the wrong time of day. Some mistakes are about skill. This one is only about timing, and it can decide your whole day. Fishing at the wrong time. Fish are cold-blooded, so their energy goes up and down with the light and the heat. If you fish at 2 in the afternoon on a hot sunny day, most fish have moved to deep, cool water where they are slow and not hungry. Then the beginner thinks fishing is just not for them. Fish the edges of the day instead. Early morning and the last hour before dark are the best times, because the low light makes fish feel safe enough to come to shallow water and eat. If you can only fish at midday, look for shade in deeper spots. But if you can choose, fish at sunrise or sunset. The difference is huge. Casting into empty water. Here is where a lot of beginners throw away their best casts: fishing in empty water. New anglers cast as far as they can into the open middle of the lake where there are no fish. Fish stay near things: fallen trees, weeds, rocks, docks, and drop-offs, any place where deep water meets shallow water. These spots give fish both food and a place to hide, so this is where they wait. Picture a person on the bank casting straight out for 3 hours, while fish are feeding in the shallow water just down the shore. So stop fishing in the empty middle. Aim your cast at a fallen tree, a dock post, or the edge of the weeds, not the empty center. Ask yourself where you would hide and hunt if you were a fish. The answer is almost never open water. Making too much noise. Some damage is done before your bait even touches the water. Making too much noise. Sound moves about 4 times faster in water than in air. So every heavy step on a dock, every box you drop, and every loud voice goes straight to the fish. They feel these sounds as danger, and they either swim away or stop eating. You can do everything else right and still scare the fish before your bait lands. So move slowly and quietly. Close lids softly, keep your voice low, keep your shadow off the water, and stay low near the bank. In shallow, clear water, being quiet catches more fish than almost anything else. Never letting the bait work. This mistake is all about patience, and almost everyone is guilty of it. Never letting your bait work. Excited beginners cannot sit still. They reel in every minute to check the bait, change the weight, or move spots. But every cast makes a splash and more noise, and it never gives a fish enough time to find the bait, look at it, and decide to eat, which can take 5 or 10 minutes. So this is not just about being patient. Sitting still is part of the trick. Cast to a good spot, let the bait rest and do its job, and do not reel in too soon. Give each cast a real chance before you move, even if it feels slow. The angler who leaves the bait alone almost always catches more than the one who keeps moving it. Refusing to adapt. This habit keeps some anglers stuck for years, refusing to change with the conditions. Most beginners find one way to fish and stick to it, no matter what the day is like. But the water changes all the time, and the fish change with it. If the water is muddy, use a bait that makes more noise and movement so fish can find it. If the water is very clear, use smaller, more natural baits. If the fish are slow after a cold night, move your bait more slowly. So treat every trip as something you adjust, not a fixed plan. Read the day and change with it. That is what separates people who catch fish from people who make excuses. Not checking your line. Small mistakes lose big fish, and this is one of the worst: not checking your line. Every time your line rubs on rocks, wood, or a fish's mouth, it gets tiny cuts and rough spots. You cannot always see them, but a damaged line is a weak line, and it will snap when a strong fish pulls. Tangles, called wind knots, make it weak in the same way. Most beginners never check, and then they lose the best fish of the day. So build one simple habit. Every few casts, run your fingers down the last few feet of your line. If you feel a rough spot or a nick, cut that piece off and tie your knot again. And always tie a fresh knot after you catch a fish or get snagged. It takes 10 seconds and saves the fish that matters most. The biggest mistake, and now the most important one of all. This is the big mistake I promised at the start, and it has nothing to do with your gear. It is not paying attention. Most beginners treat fishing like waiting. They cast out, stop watching, and stare at the water, thinking about lunch. But the water is telling them everything. Birds diving down means small fish are near the top. A splash or a ripple shows you where fish are eating. A small tap on your line is a bite you would miss if you were not watching. So start watching the water the moment you arrive, even before your first cast. The people who catch the most fish are not the ones with the best gear. They are the ones who keep watching and changing what they do based on what the water shows them. Fix this one habit, and every other tip in this video becomes easier.